So I thought we would go over Keep the Change, Marla's song with Marla. Some people thought it was written about me, but it actually was not. It was written about this beautiful lady and her life story. Yeah. I don't know. We were just talking, and I think you fell asleep, and I just started to kind of hum the lyrics or something, and I have the recording somewhere, but it's terrible. So I'm not gonna send it to you. But we'll sing the first verse. Well, my daddy, he's a gambler. My mama, she's soft. Lit a shotgun wet in that June. I can see the sunrise 10 miles ahead, and all they can see is the rearview. So long, broken promises. So long, double white shame. I'm leaving you all my inheritance, and I'm keeping all of my change.
Very good.
Well, yeah, thank you. What do you think about the first verse? I was trying to set like a scene, I guess, of what your life was like, what your folks were like.
Yeah, I mean, the lyrics are pretty self-explanatory because it's exactly like how my childhood was growing up. So my dad was a gambling addict, still is, and so it was quite a chaotic household. And then my mom, she was born deaf, and also her vision gets progressively worse as time goes on. So she can't talk. So that lyric, my mom is soft. That's kind of what that refers to. And they had a shotgun wedding. They had a shotgun wedding. It was in August, but you know.
Oh, it was, well, okay, yeah. I figured you were. That was around the time that they would find out that, yeah.
Yeah. And then
June rhymes better.
June rhymes much better. So long, broken promises. So that really signifies like so much for me. Like my dad, I don't know if he necessarily ever promised anything, because the household was so chaotic. I guess like if you want to think about the promise of having just the necessities in life, like food, water, shelter.
Yeah, it's an unspoken promise, but it's still
so
implied.
We didn't have food.
Yeah.
At all. I grew accustomed to feeling hungry, like all the time, up until I graduated high school, really. And shelter, I mean, we moved around a lot. We had shelter, I guess, but it was never that great.
Louisiana shelter, which was like iffy at the time. Yeah.
And that kind of ties in with double wide shame. We lived in double wide trailers, sometimes. And, there's a stigma around living in trailers, but it actually was like not that great.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think you took a while before you like told me all of that and like where you came from, and it was really moving for me because you had come so far. I mean, just your story, your journey is just, it's this epic saga of heroism, really.
Thank you.
And I mean, but to hear about it and know that you were not only not proud of it, but you were actually ashamed of where you'd been was very moving for me.
Yeah, I felt a lot of shame about my story and my background, probably well into like college, even after graduating college, like I felt myself not really getting that close to people because I was so ashamed of like my background. I went to this amazing college with people from all over the world and all these amazing, stories and backgrounds, and not to say they were all like affluent or, amazing families, but it was a private like college, liberal arts school. Like people were very well educated and they seemed well off, and I was just so ashamed of my story in the midst of all of that. Like I didn't feel like I fit in with that crowd sometimes.
Yeah. But it gives you, I mean, you should be proud of it, I think, because it gives you so much depth and depth of character,
Yeah, I've worked through that since
Yeah,
then.
yeah. Let's do the second verse. So, well, I finished my high school when I was 16, but I grew up by the age of 8. Yeah, my daddy paid the bookie, we had no food, and all we could do was wait. So that, I wanted to kind of paint the that was the picture in my mind. Like literally your dad was giving money to the bookies, to the people he gambled with, rather than, to allow you guys to even have groceries. And, all we could do was wait. I mean, you're this 8-year-old child, you're this baby basically. And your mom being, largely disabled, couldn't do anything either. So it was just all you could do was wait, like that was your whole life, it seems like.
Yeah, I didn't have the chance to be a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was very much the adult in the household since
right.
Probably from before 8 years old, to be honest with you. So yeah, it was really hard, and I've been working a lot. We've talked about this so much. I've been working a lot on kind of grieving that lost childhood, like not being able to have a normal childhood. And there's a lot of like grief and sadness there, but I've finally, at 32 years old, have had the chance to like really sit down and like process that and properly like grieve that loss.
Yeah.
So, and then your lyric about finishing high school when I was 16.
Yeah.
I think
you're a kid genius too. I mean, which is like, as if there wasn't enough complexity in here. You're a prodigy. You're also a prodigy.
Thanks.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's an amazing story.
That was really my saving grace, I think.
Yeah.
In all of this. Like, when I was younger, 14, 15 years old, I told you this the other day, I thought about emancipating myself. I didn't know what that was really, or what I had to do, or what it looked like, but I knew like I didn't want to be in the situation I was in. And I knew there were like laws or rules that could allow me to kind of separate myself from that situation at a younger age than, like 18.
18, yeah.
But as it turns out, I mean, I was set to graduate high school at 16 years old anyway. So
because you, for our listeners, you skipped grades. You skipped 2 grades.
Yeah.
And that allowed you to graduate at 16, which is incredible. I mean, truly.
Yeah.
So you literally went to college at 16.
I was 16 years old.
Crazy.
Yeah. Which is, just looking back, that's, I don't know. It's all like a blur. I'm like, how did that even happen?
I mean, you were successful. All right, let's see. What's the third? So this next verse was kind of your letter to your mom, because she seemed to have felt left behind. But you had to live your life. Like you just couldn't stay there with her. Anyway, I'll just play it. Well, it's not that I'm leaving you behind. It's just that you can't keep up with my stride. Yeah, that road ahead has got only what's mine. It's So I guess that this means goodbye. So long, broken promises. So long, double white shame. I'm leaving you all my inheritance, and I'm keeping all of my change. I thought that it was just like it. There was no other. That's what was going to happen, whether you liked it or not, whether that was the plan, because there was no. You simply could not choose to stay in that household. You had to leave. Like, your life had more bigger and better things, and you miss her and you love her, and you know, you're still connected to her, but you had to move on. I felt.
That's interesting. I don't think I ever understood that lyric was a letter to my mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For some reason, like, I thought it was kind of like addressing my dad too.
Oh, yeah.
So okay, that makes more sense.
I don't feel like he deserves a goodbye, but your mom does, for sure.
But it's interesting because even though I, quote, left her behind, to go to college, I, in fact, I guess if you want to call it, rescued her.
You came back and rescued her, yeah.
Yeah. So I took her out of essentially the marriage with my dad in 2015. I was 25 years old.
Literally, you helped her to divorce. Yeah, that's amazing.
I literally flew to get her and flew her back with like 2 suitcases of her stuff.
It's such an incredible story, my love. I mean, it really is. Like,
Thanks.
I mean, when I was 16, I remember it well, but I wasn't rescuing a parent from, a bad relationship and marriage and helping them to get divorced. Like, after going to college, I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, it's so incredible. It's really incredible.
Thank you.
Let's see. Drive, Phoenix, drive. I'm leaving it all behind. Yeah, my heart may feel empty, but my belly is full. I'm moving to Atlanta tonight. So long, broken promises. So long, double white shame. I'm leaving you all my inheritance, and I'm keeping all of my change. That was just the victory lap, to me. Like, a lot of it is around, movement and driving. Like, the first scene, you're looking through the window of the future, and they keep focusing on the rear view mirror. Like, that's all they see. And everything was kind of forced, and you were held back. And then in the last verse, you're free, and you were able to just take off and fly.
Yeah, the lyric, "My heart is," what was it? "My heart is empty, but my belly it's full."
Yeah,
it's full.
Yeah.
That was like so true. So the moment that I moved to Atlanta, I was 16. Right. Yeah, I was 16. And that's like, that rings so true because like I felt happy because I was like leaving this situation, but there was like an empty heart full of like broken promises and just like all this trauma,
Yeah, oh yeah.
from the past 16 years of my life at that point. But my belly was full. Like, it was amazing, like going from this situation where I was hungry like all the time to like going to a college where you were fed every meal of every day and every snack you could ever want, That in itself, I mean, it seemed very small to other people,
Sure,
But
yeah.
for me, I was like, oh, yeah.
That was,
like,
yeah.
And we even had like these extra points or whatever you could use at like the cafe. You could get like coffee and chocolate, and like that was a luxury.
Yeah, you never
to me.
got that,
Like,
yeah.
I never had that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I felt like you were able to say, yeah, my heart is empty. Like, I have, I'm in pain. This is not easy for me, but at least my belly is full. Like, at least I'm taken care of, because I'm taking care of myself, and
It was a hard decision for me to actually like move to Atlanta and go to college. I almost didn't
Really?
I think I told you this because my dad, he had a heart attack. I think it was like a few months before I was set to move.
Uh-huh.
And, in my head, I was like, okay, well, I'll just stay here and, help get a job, go to the community college here, and just help take care of my mom and my dad. And
See, I feel like that's how it always happens. Like when you're right next to your next level,
mm-hmm.
something happens to just try to pull you back. Like it's a last bit effort, but and it's not like someone consciously does it, but there always seems to be something that just tries to get you back. But I'm so grateful that you made the decision to
me too.
still go, because
Yeah.
that could have been it for you. That could have been your whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was it was a nurse at like the local clinic, kind of like an urgent clinic type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I went there. I think I can't remember why. I think actually she gave me like gas money to go to the hospital to see my dad.
Wow.
And she had found out that I was considering staying and not going to college, and she actually like kind of pulled me aside and told me like, hey, like I know things are hard and you're thinking about staying, but your dad would actually be very happy. He would be happier if you went.
Wow.
And I remember that like little piece of advice just like really stuck in my head, for a while.
That's so angelic, man. That's like
it really is.
God coming down.
I can't
just
remember
saying,
the lady's name for
hey,
the life
Marla,
of me. But
nudge, like don't do it.
yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your story. I mean, it's just the most unbelievable story to me. But
Thank you for writing that.
truth
song.
is crazier than fiction, I guess. So yeah, love you, baby.
I love you too. Thanks.